We're talking Forza Horizon 4. We're talking about a leaked car list. And we're going to talk about why it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. So, I guess what happened is some of the PC game players started getting like an early download build of Forza Horizon 4. And one of the players kind of had was going through some of the files. His name is Yu Datenshi. And he's kind of going through some of the files. He found a full car list. Okay. Over 450 cars. Forza has already told us that. I want you to hear what Forza's official tweet was in response to this. Today, some of you may have noticed Forza Horizon 4 game files preloading on your PCs. This was not intended, and you don't have to do anything. The final game will download automatically when it is released. If you'd like, you can safely uninstall the downloaded files. That's deep. That's real deep. So basically, by what I've seen, Forza either doesn't seem too concerned with this, or they just don't know how to respond to this. In my opinion, it's not a big deal. I looked at the car list. Other than seeing that the McLaren 720S is going to be in there, which is, I think the 720S is in the trailer. We know we're supposedly getting the 720S in Forza Motorsport 7, so I can't imagine it wouldn't be in Forza Horizon 4. And then, of course, the McLaren Senna, and all, basically, this is how you look at it. See how many different cars there are. Take away race cars, of course, because Motorsport 7 is going to be a lot more race car heavy. That's why they have hundreds of more cars than the Horizon series. Motorsport is race car, it's race car heavy. Whereas Forza is an open world, and you're supposed to be able to get into these cars, drive them around, and have a good time in real life. So you're not going to put a lot of race cars in that game, even though in Forza Horizon 3 they had some race cars. And I'm guessing they'll probably do the same thing here. The Horizon Edition cars are back, which just means the same car with a body kit and some upgrades. And they look really cool. But here's why it's not a big deal. Most of these games build and share their car lists every year. Ever since they've been doing a Horizon series with the Motorsport series, they kind of put in some cars, and then the next game gets those cars and then gets a few more through DLC and a couple added cars. Most of the time, you could probably almost predict what cars are already going to be in this game. We know Toyota's not going to be in it because Toyota and Forza can't come to some kind of an agreement, which is stupid. I don't get why Toyota does not want to be in a Forza game at all. I guess there's just no benefit to it for them, but it's not a big deal. I mean, most of the newer cars that we get now are done through DLC. We don't get a lot of new vehicles to drive around in the initial game. We get a lot of cars, and we get cars that are new to that series. So any car that was brought in new into Forza Motorsport 7, other than some race cars, will then translate into Forza Horizon the next year. So you'll get some Horizon cars in there that were Motorsport 7 cars the previous year. So a lot of those SUVs that they kept giving us in Forza Motorsport 7, we'll see those in the proper place, which is the Horizon series. It's basically just Playground and Turn 10 Studios just building these car models so that they can keep putting them in the games in the future. So, of course, in the Motorsport series, you play around with it a little bit, and then when they get it into the Horizon series, the physics are a little looser, the handling's a little bit, freer and easier to handle because, it's not as simulated, and you have a lot more fun because now you can bounce around your Nissan 1970, whatever Nissan pickup that was. You can now bounce it around in the backwoods or whatever of the UK, instead of driving it around, Mugello or Monza, or the Nürburgring. That's a proper place for a Nissan pickup. And things like the Nissan Titan, which of course were introduced in, look at it. The Nissan Titan was introduced in Forza Horizon 3. And then we saw it in Forza Motorsport 7, which was a weird choice to put the Nissan Titan pickup truck, which is a diesel truck, in the Horizons or in the Motorsport series. It doesn't really have a place. So to me, it's not a big deal that the car list was leaked. I think it's not like between Horizon and Motorsport there are so many different cars. If you think about it, there's just not. Other than the difference in race cars, you're not going to see a lot of Indy cars and Formula Ones and E-Formula cars, and you're not going to see as many Grand Touring Championship cars, and you're not going to see, you're not going to see a lot of those things. Of course, they're going to put it in that giant Mercedes race truck, I guess is going to be in Horizon. And okay, it might be fun to drive around in the UK, just out tootling around in it. It might be a kick in the head. I think it was even in Forza Horizon 3. It was just so big, it was hard to see around it. But then again, I might be wrong. I can't remember where the first place I drove. I just don't remember Forza Motorsport 7 being the first place I drove that truck. I think it was in Horizon 3. So, like I said, there's not a lot of reason to really get overly excited about a leaked car list. And I think Forza may know that better than anybody. I think Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios understand that it's like, other than the omission still of Toyota and a couple of new cars that may not have been in Horizon, and maybe a couple cars that weren't in the Motorsport series. And a lot of these cars that it'll be their first time in a Horizon series, which would be like the Bugatti Chiron and things like that. There's no reason to get overly excited. There's no reason to sit there and think that somehow this was a major problem for Playground Games or Turn 10 Studios, or some major mistake that's going to get somebody fired. It happened. We have the full car list. Most of us that have looked at the full car list have just kind of went, yeah, that's been in the last 3 games. That's been in the last 4 games. That's been in the last couple games. And we're just kind of going through the list going, yeah, we've seen all these. When do we get to the DLC? When do we start getting the car packs so that we can see new cars? And then, of course, it's kind of interesting to see what some of the Forza Edition, the Horizon Edition cars will be, because they always do a really good job. They make those body kits look really cool. And I can't wait to get the, I think it's the Jeep Trailcat back out. I loved playing with that Jeep Trailcat. That might have been my favorite car in Forza Horizon 3, was that Trailcat. I can't wait to get that thing out in the backwoods of the UK, because that thing was so much fun to bounce around in Australia. It's probably going to be a ton of fun to bounce around in the UK as well. So I can't wait. I'm excited about Forza Horizon 4. Don't get me wrong. But the car list leaking is not that big of a deal. Nobody should get fired for it. No, it's not, something that's going to destroy the game. We already knew most of the cars. Anybody who's looked at the list has gone, we've seen pretty much all of these. We've seen all of these in Motorsport and most of these in Forza Horizon 3. So, tell me what you think. Have you looked at the car list? Do you think it's a big deal that the car list leaked, or are you kind of like me, where you just kind of sit there and you go, yeah, I've looked at the car list, and these are all cars we've seen before, and it's not a big deal. It's not even a big deal. Why does Forza even hide it? Just kind of throw it out there and say, hey, here's the cars. No big deal. These are the cars, and then through DLC, you're going to get some cool new ones. but we're still working on them. But we're giving you these 450 cars to start with. Have a good time. I think that'd be fine. I think most of us would go, yeah, let's just have a good time in the UK. And so, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. With all that being said, to the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.